they've done this to us before, guys. And this was one of those, like, you're rip-roaring mad for like 42 minutes, 45 minutes. And then they make it relatively competitive late. But for the first time ever, I'm leading with Bobby. Because he's rip-roaring mad, and I don't want any of that anger to go away. So we're just going to go Bobby Cam right out of the gate.
Shucks.
Go.
Wow.
Oh, man. No pressure.
This performance was so shameful. I recorded one of those 1-minute short things about how excited I was for this.
Yeah, we
and
saw
this was
it,
an absolute disaster. The turnovers with this team. What is going on with this group's ball control? I don't care who's out there. At the very least, whether you're Grant Williams, Romeo Langford, any of these guys deep off this bench who were just horrible in this one, protect the ball. And it went for the starters as well, of course. Tatum, Fournier, Smart, with the looseness that they played this game with. But this was an opportunity to not make a statement, but at least show you can beat this team. Because if you were going to beat the Brooklyn Nets at some point in this season, the time you were going to do it was here. And they showed no urgency. They showed a passiveness and a carelessness for ball control. And they allowed role players like Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, Blake Griffin to take it to them in an embarrassing way. I thought the coaching was bad in this one. I thought the rotations were horrible. And I thought Marcus Smart and Jayson Tatum just set the worst example as ball handlers. I don't care who the Celtics were missing in this one. It was negated by what Brooklyn was missing and then some. And there were periods of this game where they didn't even show up. And I thought this game was way more important than they seemed to.
Look, when you got a guy on a red-eye flight from freaking Moscow who just rolls into the gym.
Oh,
no practices.
Mike James?
And Mike, he was actually better than damn near every single backup the Celtics threw out there. And he literally just got off the damn plane. Mike,
he was just happy to be there. He was like, yo, I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, and this is what frustrates me too.
Yeah, and I'm going to hit you with jumpers, and then I'm going to go a la Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and hit you with the running skyhook.
You've been waiting for this for 3 years.
It was an embarrassment. And then you got the fast break points. 32-0?
0.
How does that happen?
You say 32?
I don't even care what Brooklyn got. 0 for the Celtics.
That is crazy.
Are you kidding me? I mean, NBC showed the graphic during the game. This is the best points per possession transition team in the NBA, and they never, ever run. It starts with defense because the defense is bad, and if you're not getting stops, you're not going to have a transition game. But beyond that, they just scrape along. The only guy I'm going to give credit on the Celtics tonight, and the guy who saved them, frankly, was Payton Pritchard. That's it. He was the only guy that impressed me in this one.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Bobby, because I was the one screaming in the text thread being like, where is Payton Pritchard? Oh, wait, now you're going to put him in when, all hell.
Oh, those fourth quarter rotations. My
Lord. It was ridiculous. I thought in that third quarter, they needed someone out there that can control the offense, just someone to tame what was going on because the turnovers were turning into quick points for the Brooklyn Nets. And you needed someone to be out there. Look, Marcus Smart, he was on one, and then he was making a silly pass every other play, right? It was like he'd make a good offensive shot, and then he would commit a turnover. They needed that balance, and I was really surprised that we didn't see Payton Pritchard sooner. And listen, it's easy to say that now because you see his stat line, but he had barely hit the 10-minute mark through 3 quarters. I just thought that was unacceptable when you have Kemba Walker not in the fold. All right, I'm not saying you start the guy. I'm not saying that you give the rookie 30+ minutes just because Kemba Walker's not out there. But we're weeks away from the playoffs. We're talking about a team that's going to need someone like that to control this second unit. And if you're not going to give him that reps, if you're not going to give him reps on a night when Kemba Walker's not in, what are we doing here? I just didn't understand that part of Brad Stevens' rotation. That's why as soon as Bobby said rotations, I was like, yes.
What was the white flag?
That part.
What was the white flag lineup to begin the fourth with Tatum in there?
Carson Edwards.
I mean, it's one or the other.
Edwards was out there, man.
Look at what's happened to these guys, Jimmy.
Yo, no, Bobby.
I'm not gonna have to say a word all night.
It's beautiful.
Right?
I'm just nodding my head like, yeah.
I won't say a word all night.
It's just this is the kind of game where you have to make some kind of statement. All right, the Nets are.
Well, they did. They made a statement.
Yo, for real.
You're right about
they
that.
didn't make the statement you wanted them to make.
You're right about that.
The Celtics let the Nets show how deep they are as a team, and then the Celtics did nothing about it. When regardless, okay, you don't have Jaylen Brown out there, you still have Tatum. You're not playing against Kevin Durant. I thought this was a great opportunity just to grab a win, not blow them out. Just grab a win. Go out there and grab a win.
I've done my best to defend Grant Williams against the herd here, and I can't do it tonight. I just can't. They're gonna have to have Adam because there's nothing I can say after this one.
Serious
Shaq
question.
for sure.
If you put together Grant Williams' lowlights tape, would it be the worst tape in the history of a single season? Like some of his stuff is so ugly. Forget like bad play or not being impactful or just wild. Some of his ugly shit is so freaking ugly.
How
when
confused?
He goes ugly, he goes real ugly. Credit to him.
How confused was DeAndre Jordan when he tried to help him up on the fast break? Jordan his head must have been spinning as he was nursing that injury on the ground.
Yeah, if the commenters are accurate, tonight's loss is entirely Grant Williams and Brad Stevens' fault.
No, everybody shares.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
wait, hold on. Pass the rage stick to Jimmy because he wanted to get a little.
started this game.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, John, think about that.
Here's the thing. Here's why I'm not even. You know what's the worst part about my reaction is that I'm not even really that surprised. Like that's the worst part, right? The opposite of love, or opposite of love is indifference. That's how I feel about this team right now, man. Because this loss was just like all their other losses. They go down big, claw their way back to this fake little comeback, and then lose, and then.
But this has been such a good month for them, Jimmy. I mean, they've changed themselves.
But when the big boy teams come to town, what happens to the Celtics in most cases? A lot of times, they come back down to earth a little bit. So that's what we saw tonight. And honestly, you had a game from Kyrie Irving that was, defensively excellent, but offensively very meh. Below average offensively. I mean, he filled up the stat sheet because that's what great players do. But this was a game that, without Harden, without Durant, with Kyrie Irving scoring 15 points, if you told me the Celtics won by 20 points, I wouldn't be surprised if you told me those three things happened. But instead, you got Bruce freaking Brown coming out of left field, dropping 15 on you. Joe Harris turning into Steph Curry. And, like you said, Jeff Green, doing what Jeff Green does, which is, make a career out of being like the fifth guy on the team, doing that again. And the Celtics are just sleepwalking through the game, and then they make it look interesting in the end, but ultimately come up short like they always do in these situations. So, I'm glad that Bobby came around on this one because I couldn't go another show with him picking out the good moment.
Yeah, but do you see what you guys did?
Grant could go out and
you've made Bobby mad.
Bobby's right back.
You made him very upset.
You've upset Bobby. Okay,
I'm so happy.
What you do to the kid, man?
When you lose, Bobby, you've lost the war. That's it.
There's a pride factor when it comes to this matchup. And they just don't seem to be able to tap into it because again and again they've been embarrassed by this team. And we can go game by game, whether it was Kyrie's return, scoring upwards of 40 in the second night of the season. That was just a competitive list disaster. The game out of the All-Star break where Smart got lit up by him again. And now to lose to Bruce Brown, Mike James, those type of players. Jimmy said it best. Kyrie barely showed up in this one.
I just watched Smart's pass to the bench. That was tough.
Oh.
And then he yells at the players.
We didn't even get into the late game execution.
Why are you guys standing there cheering for us? What's wrong?
They're in warm-up shirts, but I mean, it wasn't like they were wearing white jerseys, but I mean, damn.
And someone said this to me. This was such a winnable game right up until the final minutes. The Nets let them right back into 3 with about 2 minutes left.
Urgency? How, if you're Jayson Tatum, are you so careless with the ball there? He single-handedly kept them alive, so they're not even close if Tatum's not there. How do you allow that to happen? You're not even in a pressure situation yet. You're just bringing the ball up to enter. Right. I mean, I was just inexcusable.
Then he's mad at the refs. Look, pass out of the freaking double, man. And crossing half court and you let Kyrie just jab step you and you lose it out of bounds. You can't do that. You can't do it.
Turnovers.
The Smart thing was unreal, There's so many breakdowns. Fournier there on the switch, leaving Harris open. I mean, this is crazy. This is after Brooklyn gifted you an opportunity to get back in the game. That stuff didn't even matter. Really, the game was
you see the difference in makeup between these teams.
Yeah.
When you're the Nets and you're missing all these pieces and you have guys step up off the bench the way they did. And Sherrod said it best with the Mike James thing. When did the Celtics ever get that kind of performance deep off their bench even? Like Tremont Waters did it once all year a couple of nights ago, and he tried his best to get them back into it. but again and again off this bench, it's just nothing.
Like, not only does the Brooklyn Nets have that deep bench, but they're like, everyone just knows their role and they're like eager to do it. They're like, yeah, man, I can't wait to come off this bench and play for this Nets team.
That team's gonna win it all. They have great makeup.
There's no someone trying to do too much or trying to take over a game. Just listen. Before the season even started, we knew about the shooters that they have, but now like they've sharpened those skills, right? They had that continuity, they had that blend, they had that chemistry. You can say what you want about the three superstars, and I think they've only played 9 games together this season. But I mean, the rest of the team looked pretty damn good, especially compared to the Celtics. I just thought the Celtics team, I just thought it was a good chance for them to stand up for themselves, to send a message, even if it's without Durant in the picture.
That's the thing too. If we're gonna give these guys, if we're gonna say there's times in the season, right? But with the bench here, look, there's times during the season we look around and we're like, Tatum and Brown got to get these guys involved a little bit. Well, you know what? You got games here with 3 and 4 guys missing, and you've got a chance to step up and freaking do something. You can't play a game like Romeo played tonight. You can't play a game like Grant played tonight. I mean, detriments, absolutely negative value. Pritchard answers the bell.
Well, the worst part about the worst part about those guys sucking is that this was their opportunity to show that they don't completely suck, because you had so many guys out. You had Kemba out, you had Brown out, Robert Williams has been out, and you're putting these guys in that to prove that they can have a bigger role in this team, whether it's this season or next season or whatever the hell it is, or maybe even in the league. And just about all the way down the line, you can just be like disappointed. I mean,
and that's the difference between these guys and Brooklyn. You got guys like Shaman. You got guys like Jeff Green. You got freaking Mike James just get off the plane. Bag's probably still at the damn at baggage claim. He's stepping on the court
he's on the wrong clock right now.
Exactly, and he's still killing you.
Listen, but I mean, look at these guys. These numbers.
That's crazy.
The non-Pritchard bench guys: Parker 2, Grant 3, Nesmith 5. Okay, Cornette 2, Fournier 2. Are you friggin' kidding me?
0.
And then Romeo 0, Semi 3. No freaking way. Unsustainable. This is how many guys here you handed 15 plus minutes and said, do something. And they did nothing. That is disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Beyond the stats, John, they make 0 impact, which to me was even worse.
0.
Because if you only score 3 points, but you get it done defensively, you can live with that. They sucked defensively. They didn't score. They brought no value other than Pritchard off that second unit.
That's
warm bodies.
That's it. You had 2 starters. 2 starters were 0s tonight, and then 5 bench guys outside of Pritchard. Absolute 0s across the board, not just the points. 0 contributions. And Fournier, first game back, absolute trash. Okay, he was trash tonight. You can excuse it, sure, but he was trash.
Right.
This is unsustainable. Again, for all the time we've talked about it. Like, look, we're gonna we're giving Tatum shit for late game stuff because if not for him,
what's he supposed to do?
If not for him, they're freaking doomed. He has to be perfect. He has to be perfect.
Dude, I don't even blame half the turnovers on him. He's like, shit, I'm just going to try to dribble through 5 people before I pass to one of these schmucks.
And this is what drove me crazy when he was getting the blame earlier in the year. It's like,
he's not getting the blame. He's being held to a ridiculously high standard because he has to be. But it's like, it is at this point, you can't look around the rest of this team and be like, these are professional basketball players. They're not.
It's so bad, and this is why Ainge caught the heat early in the year. It's just so bad up and down the bench, and it's got to change this offseason. And give him credit for trying to swap some stuff in and out when they didn't have a ton of flexibility here within the year. But wow, like it needs to be blown up quickly this offseason.
Actually, I'll take it back. Nesmith. Actually, what's funny is we're not going to get into Romeo Nesmith for the rest of the night, but it looked like Romeo had distanced himself in terms of trust and playing over Nesmith, and then he's just last couple of games started to tick back, and Nesmith has shown a little. Nesmith showed a little bit tonight. That's
he can't compete. He didn't play well, but his effort was good. I mean, trying to dunk
8
on
rebounds.
Guys
he had 8 rebounds. Trying to dunk was a little not the right call.
It was a bad idea in every sense.
That was like Jaylen would do stuff like that too. He's like, I'm going to yoke it from back here, and he's like 15 feet from the rim. But Also, Jaylen can jump out of the gym. Neesmith can't, but that was something different. I like him. The guy got excited.
I'll give it to him for trying.
He also got on that poster, right?
Yeah, but holy shit.
It was one of those. As soon as it happened to you, he just went running back to the other side. Yep, I got.
Holy S was that bad, man. I was psyched about tonight.
Cornette's dunk. Don't forget Cornette's reverse jam.
That was smooth.
That was like
he
just turned around. That was an Ed Pinckney special.
It was the worst.
It frustrates me too. From a
Ed Pinckney, if he was standing facing the basket, he would turn around and reverse dunk it every time.
That frustrates me too, and that's just one of the minor things. But 8 minutes for him.
Have you ever seen a less emotional dunk than that two-handed reverse jam by Cornette? It was like,
game blouses.
I'm just glad he got it over the rim. I wasn't sure how he was going to score.
Oh my God, Cornette! Bobby actually, and this is how bad the bench is. Bobby was like, "Cornette just saved the game." Like that's how low he
stretch in the second
remember
quarter.
That text he sent us? He goes, "Cornette saved the game."
Well, they were about to slide down by 20 at that point, and then they ended up making it 9 before half, and he was part of that.
But
good
that just
rotational
goes to show how
defense.
low our expectations have gotten. You know.
Again, though, if you're Brad and you're going to talk about how he replicates some of the things Rob does, and he's such a great passer, and he fits so well with this team, and we've had an eye on him forever, and then you play him 8 minutes, it's like, which is it? Are you going to integrate him more fully or not at this point? Because he played some good minutes there, and then they got away from him again. And I know you guys are going to laugh, but look at the other stuff they're working there. Yeah. As long as Rob's out, he should be playing.
I don't know if he's on that same the same thing the same program I think Pritchard should be on. I don't know if he's on the same thing. You know,
he's not.
I don't know if he's quite there, but
he's not.
Pritchard barely getting in, barely playing 10 minutes of the first 3 quarters. Again, I don't know. I think
especially when no one ahead of him had it going.
That's exactly. Like, what's the alternative? Like, why wait for the huge deficit to press that button in that second half?
And John hinted at this. Sprinkling the round minutes the way Brad did, that's probably not the right way to go about it, because you're not letting any of these guys catch a flow. You're just guessing on the fly, is something going to work here? And then all of a sudden, you're not consolidating minutes on a guy like Pritchard, who's actually playing really well, because you're looking for, what can Neesmith give us? What can Grant give us here? Semi plays 17. It's just experiment city deep into the season, and I get it. That's how he approaches it. They found some stuff doing things that way, but tonight, They just had to kind of lean in on what was working, press some guys a little deeper, and really dig deep to win this one. And I thought that beginning of the fourth, where they were just completely guessing with 7 Edwards minutes, was so frustrating to me. And
that seemed like more of a message than a guess. You know, like, if none of you friggin' guys are stepping up, I'll play this guy. Like, then you know you fucked up, right? You know, like, it's okay.
But this is the point. One injury.
I'm putting Carson in. Dad, I'm not mad. Dad's not mad. He's disappointed. Okay.
Yeah.
He's disappointed. He's putting Carson in now.